Good evening and welcome to the Hugh Hatrick Show on a very special occasion where we have a very special guest. It is Wolemid, all the way from the middle of England. It's good to see you, Wolemid. How are you doing today?
Okay, how are you?
I'm very well, and very excited to hear your story because I first met you on the Kirith Kart channel when you were doing a co-host questions and answers of lots of technical issues with sim rigs and go karting experience and things like that. So no, it's fantastic to have you on the show. A very warm welcome to you and to everyone who is watching from the Wolmid's channel. It's good to see you. And also, if it's the first time watching, we've got Wolemid's subscription link in the channel for YouTube in our description here. But the first question I always ask Wolemid is, how did you get started in motorsports? How did it all begin?
Well, my history doesn't really go the same way as everyone else's. I started really late for someone who does karting. I actually started when I was 16. Bear in
Wow.
mind that people start when they're like my son started racing when he was 5.
Yeah.
I started super late, and it just so happened to be I had an injury playing football, which meant I couldn't play the position I wanted to play anymore. So I went with a cousin to a car park essentially, and they had cones and some rental carts, and that's how it started.
Wow. And that is quite a thing. And so, what was it like, kind of racing go karts for the first time? Were you did it take a lot of trial and error, or did you
Uh,
find it was something you had a natural skill for?
to be fair, I'm I pick up a lot of sports quite quickly, so it wasn't horrendous for me, but it's always good fun. Obviously, racing aren't quite aware how fast proper carts are. So the first time you're driving at an actual legitimate 50 miles an hour is really something else.
Yeah. Wow, no, that's quite a thing. And so, how did it all kind of start in terms of like championships? Did you just do arrive and drive at the start, and then
Um,
got into a series, or how did it all begin?
so I actually never did any arrival drive karting. My first foray into karting was this club which we're part of, which was basically in the car park. Like I said, they had their own cart, which we'd eventually go down to a track called Blackbush, and we'd drive it around. Eventually, my dad and my uncle combined, they bought a cart for me to start in, and we
Hmm.
just went from there. That was at Sandown, so the horse racing track. There
Oh
is a
yeah,
go kart
yeah.
track. There's an actual kart track in the middle of it,
All
and that's
right.
where I first began. Yeah,
Ah,
and
fantastic.
eventually started going more and more. We went, so that was club racing. Then we did regionals when there was a time which regionals was a legitimate way in karting, and then
Hmm.
we went nationals and kind of never went back from there.
Yeah. And so, how long did it take you to win your first race?
To win my first race was within the first season. But uh, at Sandown, there's probably only about 10 or 11 people in my class. So it's not as if it was a big stack grid.
Hmm.
And then I think my first year in regionals, I didn't actually win, but then we never did a second year in regionals. We went straight to nationals.
Hmm.
And I think I won in my third or fourth national race.
Wow, that's pretty good going. So, what
Yeah.
was it that gave you that kind of desire for go karting? Because it's quite a different kind of sport compared to anything else, and it's very tough, and it's also it's quite hard wearing, isn't it? You've got to be pretty fit to be able to be good at go karting. How did
Yeah,
that kind of did you kind of choose to go to that sport? I know you said you had an injury in football, but it's still quite a big decision to make.
it is. I mean, it's not something which you can do on a whim. There's a lot of time and planning to it. There's a lot of fitness involved as well. You'll see a lot of people who are new to karting, rental, or own a driver, and they'll really like death grip a steering wheel, like squeeze it as
Yeah,
tight as they can, and then their arms are just completely gone within 10 minutes. So
yeah,
there's a lot of training, a lot of using different muscles than you ever been used to using before, because no one ever trains their forearms. So let's be realistic.
yeah.
Um, and neck muscles as well. There's a lot of neck muscles in karting. But the way we kind of went into it was really good. It's really friendly sort of way, starting from a little club, going with my dad and my uncle and stuff like that, and gradually going up.
That's pretty good going. And then how high did you end up going? How well did you do in your career?
So I won two British championships, like actual nationals. I was vice champion in the British Championships at least 3 or 4 times. I was third in the world once and twice fourth in the world.
Wow.
The year where I actually finished third in the world, I probably should have won it, but a bit of a confusion on Italian hand signals kind of put that to the end.
But that's incredible. So you must have been driving, because a lot of other drivers have gone from go-karting into single seaters. So
Yeah,
did you have to race against some fairly other famous drivers as well?
Yeah, there's quite a few, like Jake Hughes in Formula E, McLaren driver. I used to race against him quite a lot. Toby Sowery in LMP2, races for United Autosports, I think it is.
Yeah.
Him. There's a few scattered around all over the place. There's a couple IndyCar drivers and stuff like that.
That's amazing, though. And so, what would you say are your best memories then from your career, other than becoming third and greater in the world? That's an amazing achievement.
I mean, the memory which I'll never forget is one of the times I rolled it. Obviously, rolling a kart's not the most amount of fun in the world.
No.
And there's just going up to Worlds, watching all the other Brits compete, having a great week, because it is essentially a week out there. Crash dieting for one of the Worlds as well. I had to lose like 9 kilos in 3 days, which is
Goodness
like
me.
a donut tank.
How did you manage? That's a
I don't
huge
manage
amount.
that. Not a lot of food and lots of water. But in Italy, because the Worlds are generally out in Europe, their weight limits are lower than the British weight limits.
Right.
So obviously European people tend to be a little bit smaller than British people.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weight to lose to be competitive.
Yeah. Wow, that is quite a thing, though. To lose 9 kilos in a couple of days or less. That is an amazing amount of weight to lose. So, how would you say the state of karting is in the UK? Is it something that you think is doing better now, or do you think maybe with the era of sim racing or just motorsport in general, do you think it's maybe struggling a bit?
If you take away, it's a really hard question to answer, because club level is doing really well. So when my boy races, we're going racing this weekend. That club, they do really well. Lots of clubs get nice levels, nice numbers at club level. And then you go up to nationals, and it's nowhere near as supported, which you wouldn't expect to be. But because the price of nationals, like the MSUK, which are the governing body of British motorsport, and that's all esports, rallying, all of it. They've come up with all these silly things you got to buy. So if I'm doing a national, I have to buy 3 sets of slicks, no matter what happens, and I have to buy a brand new set of wets, even if it's going to be 30 degrees all weekend. I've got to buy a brand new set of wets, which I can't roll over to the next event. So I've actually had to buy these for no reason at all.
That's crazy.
People spend so it's 4 sets of tires. It's the best part of £1,000 on tires for a weekend to go do nationals. And that's something they're trying to force on you. So the gulf between club and national is so high. It's you can't really compare them against each other. But there's a lot of people in karting who also do a lot of sim racing as well. Like a lot of the Formula 4 lobbies on iRacing are basically all karting teenagers.
Yeah. And do you think that helps them? Do you think that does give them a bit of an edge if they're good at sim racing?
I personally don't think it does, purely because I'm the complete opposite. I'm good in the kart, but I'm absolutely terrible on my sim rig. So I can't see. I generally can't see how it relates. And people I know good on good on sim aren't as good in the car, and vice versa. So there are obviously people who are good at both disciplines, but I think there's more who are specialised in one than the other.
Yeah. Now, of course, you've been a co-host with Keirith for many of his live kind of questions and answers sessions, which are very good indeed. And you always got good. You get good questions, and you reply with very good answers. How did that all come about, and how did you meet Keirith?
During COVID, I used to do a Gran Turismo, a Club 100. So I work for a company called Club 100. So they arrive and drive karting. It's all 2-stroke karting. It's arrive and drive. I'm one of the kart testers. So basically, I drive around karts, see if there's anything wrong. If there is something wrong from crash damage, I say to the mechanics what needs to be replaced or repaired, and they do it. It's just to try and keep everything equal. Kirith Racing Club 100. I never knew him at the time, but during
Yeah.
COVID, obviously, all that stopped. A lot
Yeah.
of online racing started, and I organised a Club 100 Gran Turismo League, which Kirith
Right.
South Africa Racing. And
Yeah.
part of that league, we had a big old WhatsApp group, and it kind of just went from there.
That's fantastic. So did you use the go-karts in Gran Turismo, or was it a kind of a different combination?
A lot of the time, we'd do the championship season would be a GT3 and a GT4, and
Yeah.
then like the fun race at the end of the season would be like the go karts around my abbey. I think it
Oh
was
yeah,
Miami.
yeah. They've had that a few times. Yeah,
Yeah, so that'd be like the fun race at the end of the year.
yeah. And how do you find it? Because driving a go-kart is so much different to driving a GT3 car, isn't it? Like the steering inputs are so minute on the go-kart, especially on a sim. So then doing a GT3, do you think GT7's go-kart example is quite good for real life, or do you think it's very basic?
I will be completely honest. I played GT7 for about 2 or 3 weeks because it drove me insane trying to run a championship where I had to get to like career level 50 or something just to unlock a certain track. Drove me
Yeah,
insane. But GT4, I believe, was the same sort of handling physics of it.
yeah,
From what I remember, they're very on the nose, which aren't at all like a real
yeah,
car. It's not very on the nose like the GT3s and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So if we had people who are watching who are keen to get tips on how to say they've never done a go-karting event before, what would
Yeah.
be kind of like your top tips to help them go faster on a go-kart track?
So if we're going from like beginner to intermediate level,
Yeah.
I would say break in a straight line. Don't try
Okay.
trail braking. Break in a straight line, and then look ahead. So if you've got a sharp corner and then a long straight,
Yeah.
concentrate on the exit because
Yeah.
you'll be on more. So the time you'll gain on entry by going really fast on entry, you'll lose all the way up a long straight. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're slow on entry but fast on exit, you'll gain more over the whole 10, 15 seconds on the straight than you would gain in that half a second on entry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, when you hold a wheel, your natural thing would be to pull down when you're turning, but
Yeah.
actually you want to push. So in karting, you don't ever want to do any pulling. You actually want to do a lot of pushing the steering wheel.
All right. All right. And what's the reason for the push? Is it just better for
It's
handling or?
a lot more precise. You can get a lot more precise on the movements.
Ah, right. No,
You
that's the
do a lot
thing.
more minute. I mean, it does. Uh, I don't find it relates in sim racing. I was just about to look at my wheel back there.
Yeah.
It doesn't so much relate in sim racing, but if you're ever at a kart track, just definitely try it. Try and push it. It'll also be better on your forearms as well. So just
All
try and
right.
push the wheel instead of pulling it down.
Because I'll be doing 30 laps on Saturday. I've got a
Yeah,
30 lap session at Knockhill, and I don't know how long the lap is, if it's about 40 seconds or something to get round or thereabouts. So yes, I think we'll all be quite tired at the end of it. It's a friend of mine's 50th birthday, so
yeah,
we've all been invited to go and see what it's like. But I have to say, I'm looking forward to it because I've done go karting here and there, and I always really enjoy it.
hmm
So hopefully, if the weather's good and we get a good run, then it should be good. So what would you say has been your biggest battles that you've had? Because when you watch go karting, I mean, I watched some of the old Senna go kart videos from his early years, and it
yeah.
looks really rough. I mean, like people are bumping into the back of you, and I mean, what is it? I mean, it's very intense compared to kind of normal arrive and drive kind of go karting.
The biggest difference realistically between a ride and drive and owner driver karting is a lot of people. Well, I say a lot. Everyone racing owner driver has their own equipment. It's their own stuff.
Yeah,
The wheels aren't as enclosed as much. You're much more likely to actually get launched either into the scenery, upside
yeah,
down, or into another kart. So there's a lot of debate saying that karting is all about contact. And I'll be honest, karting is a lot of contact. I'm trying to get my boy to do more contact. He's too
yeah,
gentle on it. But compared to rental karting, it's a lot softer. If that
yeah,
makes any sense, like the contact's not as big, but when there is a contact, sorry, the contact's not as often, but when there is a contact, it tends to be a lot bigger.
right.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah, that's quite the thing, isn't it? And because you're not strapped into a cart, so it's
no,
dodgy if you get thrown out.
well,
It's
it's a safer place to be. You don't want to be trapped underneath something on fire.
No, that's true. That's no, that's kind of the thing. But do you think, in terms of, I mean, most of these events are run now very, very strictly. So they've got plenty of fire marshals, haven't they, and people around the track that can get anywhere quite quickly. Do you think it's gotten a bit safer over the years in terms of maybe the protective gear and things like that?
It once again, it comes to like the debate which is currently ongoing in karting. It's got safe, but the fact it's got safer has made drivers more reckless because they know they're not going to get hurt as much.
Yeah,
So our plastics and our go-karts are so big and soft and comforting that I
yeah,
can push people and I can take these risks of doing stuff like that. Same as back a long time ago when I first started. To start a go-kart, it used to be the old two-stroke way. You used to run behind it, push it,
yeah,
jump in and go.
yeah,
Um, and that meant if you had a crash, you had to physically get out your go-kart, run
yeah,
behind it, push it and go. Whereas nowadays, everyone's got like a touch button to go. So you
yeah,
can go for these silly moves. You crash off, you lose 10 seconds maximum, absolute maximum. So that's kind of promoting bad driving, in my opinion, along with all the
yeah,
plastics as well.
yeah,
Um, I don't think there's much they can do to it, short of removing some of the safety. But then obviously you've got kids as young as 5 racing, and you don't really want to take away safety.
yeah, yeah. No, that's the thing. Ah, we've got German Kiwi who's joined us in the audience. Kiwi is a very fast sim racer, and I told him earlier on my stream that we were having you on the show tonight. So I'm sure Kiwi will be eagerly listening to all the top tips of Wolemid as he drives his go karts and gives us expertise on how to be fast on the
Definitely
go
no
kart.
tips definitely no tips on sim racing.
You know, but no, it's the thing. But so, how do you find obviously the difference between the two? Do you quite like your? I know you said you're not as good at sim racing, but is sim racing something that still obviously you have quite a big interest in it?
Yeah,
Is it?
I'm always going to be interested in anything to do with racing. I
Hmm.
always have been and always will be. I'm like 2K I rating on
Oh
sports
wow,
cars, so that's about my sort of level. I race with
yeah,
a lot of double 100 people who are 6, 7K
yeah,
professional wheels, and they just make me look horrendous driving around. Um, Sometimes I can have a really good night, like I'm enjoying the Magna Course GT3s at the moment.
mm.
Last week I was terrible at it. I'm very hit and miss. I'm not very consistent. But I do a lot of racing. So I go do some RC racing with my boy as well. We race Tuesday nights.
All right.
Uh,
Is that radio controlled? Radio
yeah,
controlled
race
cars, yeah.
control. Yeah. I used to go do in my little thing. I used to go race nitro buggies.
Oh
Used to go
wow,
do national championships of that stuff.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So anything really with wheels on, pretty
You'll race it.
interested in doing. Yeah. Apart from bikes, I've got no interest in cycling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think four wheels are definitely better than two,
Yes.
in terms of I think a lot safer, a lot more stable, to have that, which is the thing that. So, what are your plans then for the future? Because your son is racing and go karting. Is it something that you'll continue to do, maybe in Club 100 and things like that? Is it a kind of ongoing career for you?
So yeah, I can always see me involved some way or the other in some sort of motorsport.
Yeah,
How long I'll be driving for personally, I don't really know. Um, my amount of driving is cutting down massively. I essentially only ever now drive when it's free or I'm paid to do it, which is a
yeah,
really nice problem to have. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, yeah,
But with my son racing more as well, um, we go a lot of weekends away with him, go do stuff, and which is always nice to go watch him race and try and help him. But obviously, being a child, he doesn't listen to his father. Even though I'm one of the best people to give him advice, he'd rather listen to his little mate over here, who's been doing it for a year and a half, than me, who's been doing it 25-ish years.
yeah. That's the thing. That's it. That's the thing. So, it's quite interesting now that we've got a few more people watching. It would be interesting to see the what do you think are the similarities in how you go fast between go karting and sim racing? Do you think there's some similarities
I
there?
wish I could tell you, I'm just not fast at sim racing. I try and take my things from karting over into my sim racing. So, like I said, try and get all my braking done nice and early. Try and be smooth on the steering, and just try and anticipate what's coming on afterwards. Like the
Yeah,
cars we got muscle them around, like the MX-5s.
yeah,
They're good fun to drive, but you really got to muscle them around the track, and it just doesn't suit my driving style coming from karting. So you don't
Yeah.
really muck them around. There's so much grip in karts nowadays that it's all about tiny little movements.
Yeah, that's the thing. Now, Kiwi's asking, he may have missed the start, and he's wondering what type of karts do you actually race? So you think it's Club 100?
So I work for Club 100, which
Yeah.
is Rotax, Arrive and Drive. So it's Rotax on the Beetle chassis. Through all my years, I have done Pro Kart, KGP, TKN, TKN 4-stroke, KZ, Easy Kart, B&B, Pro Kart, Rotax. I've done a lot. I've done a lot of this
Wow,
stuff.
that is a lot. Do you
Yeah, I was
think?
trying. There are more.
Yeah. Do you think there's still opportunities for new go-karting centres in the UK? Because, for example, we don't have anything. I think Newcastle's probably our nearest one here. And then up, in fact, I think it might even be further north in Edinburgh now. There used to be one in Edinburgh. But there used to be one at, just near, just outside Edinburgh. But do you think it's something that still has a good marketplace for people to go
Yeah,
to it and have a go?
yeah. There's lots of places. Like obviously, you got a couple up in Middlesbrough up there by you.
Yeah.
Larkle, which is Glasgow, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Larkhall. Yeah. Yeah.
That's still in the national calendar, so
Yeah.
that gets people there quite a lot. You got Craigle and stuff up your way. I would love to see more kart tracks.
Yeah.
Don't think that'll ever happen because of just a pure lack of space in this country. And
Yeah.
obviously, with the two-stroke noise, they're not the quietest things in the world. So a lot
Yeah.
of sound complaints. Obviously, we've got a new track opening soon at Silverstone,
All
but I
right.
don't think that's not going to be a arrive. No, that's not going to be an owner-driver track. It's more so going to be like just turn up, pay, and go.
And have a go. Yeah. Yeah. There used to be a brilliant track. It was just near Pentcaitland. I'm trying to remember the name of where it was, but it was just on Pentcaitland, about maybe 10 miles out of Edinburgh, and they had a decent indoor track, and then they also had a wonderful outdoor track that they built, and then it got sold off a few years ago, and they turned it into a petrol station. But it was, I think, the guy just retired. He'd done it for a long, long time,
Yeah,
but it was a fantastic circuit, really quite long outdoor circuit. And we did a few events there over the years, and they were fantastic. Again, they had these big twin-engine go-karts, very heavy things, really heavy to kind of turn around. I always used to find as well, you would sit quite far back. So yeah, I like to be a bit further forward so I could kind of lean over the wheel a bit, so it was easier for me to turn the wheel. But yeah, no, they were good fun though, and I do miss the adrenaline because you smell the fuel, when you're sitting there when you're about to go out at the pit lane and you smell the smoke and as everyone's getting ready to go and all that kind of. But it's a you never forget it, isn't it? It's a great experience. To be able to kind of watch all of that. And we've got a few more people coming in now. We've got Umar, and Umar and Kiwi and a few others there. So Umar, we have Wolemid here, who is a karting expert and has his own very successful channel, and is also a co-host of Kirith channel as well when they do their questions and answers sessions. But no, that's the thing. Now, when I watched some of Super GT's go-karting videos, I was always surprised at how much curb he uses.
Yes.
Because that's one of my questions. Because we were always told, when you go to these things, stay off the curbs. But he uses the full thing. How exactly does that work? What's the rule that applies to using curbs?
So two things here. So Super GT used to race in Club 100. If you remember, I was mentioning I work for Club. So he used to race in that series. So I know Super GT through that. You'll tend to find if you do arrive and drive, they say stay off the curbs because it's not your chassis, it's their chassis. They don't want you to break it. If it's only the driver, you smash as much curb as you can. Essentially, your chassis last 4 races before you need a new chassis.
Goodness.
That's on a very kind of steady going. There's people out there re-chassis a weekend or reframe a weekend.
Yeah.
But yes, eventually you want to take as much curb as you can, like you do on sim racing.
Yeah. I'm always amazed because it's the bumps. Because I always think, oh, it feels like when he goes over these curbs, you think the bump's just going to throw the car off. But he obviously knows where all the bumps are. But it still seems like it's rough.
You'll find there's always, when you've driven all the tracks as much as a lot of us have done, you'll
Yeah.
find these curbs will have the little bits where you have, if you hit it precisely here, you'll glide over it. If you miss it by an inch, it'll throw you, bounce you off the track.
Yeah.
So it's very precise on a lot of these, but you tend to find if you hit it properly, usually the curbs on the inside you hit. So that means because we don't have suspension, the car is pitched to the outside. So when you go over this curb, there's no weight on this side anyway. So you tend to just glide because all the weight's over this side. So they're not actually horrendous. There used to be one at King Bolton, which was massive, and that used to be brutal. But it was the faster hit it, but you knew when you hit it, there was no sweet spot on it.
Yeah. Because I mean, a lot of the time you can be quite sore at the end of it, isn't it? If you can be bruised about, and that's why you've got to make sure, I think, when you're in the cart, you're not moving in it. You got to, because some carts, if you're a bit too small for it, you need padding to kind of keep you in place, isn't it? Or kind of this helps you to, I think, just to, because if movement is not great.
A lot of people race properly. We have, I don't have one in here. We have rib protectors which go around the ribs.
Yeah.
Just protects our ribs a bit. I've broke my ribs before karting. I know how much pain it is. So we run rib protectors. My son runs rib protectors. 90% of people will run rib protectors, or if they don't, they'll break the ribs and then run rib protectors.
Aye, so that's quite a thing. So what would you say are the best carts to drive? In for if there's any kind of type of cart that's good for a arrive and drive, what if you see that in a go-karting centre, what would you recommend for the kind of best performance and kind of most fun you get for your money?
I think just in general, any carts are good fun to drive. Anything you drive, any go-kart, you can always have great time racing it as long as there's someone to race with.
Yeah.
If you're just plodding around on your own with no one around near you, it does get a bit tiresome. But as long as there's someone to race with, like I got invited on my channel to race a series called GX UK, by Access Karting, which is one of the cheapest ways to get into karting. And they basically race adults, race on cadets. So they're really slow. Not really slow, still faster than your rental one, but slow compared to a lot of older driver. But it's some of the best racing you'll ever see because it is so close. It's all about drafting. It's all about slipstream. And it's so cheap because the way they've done it, you can get out racing for like 600 or 700 quid for a whole setup instead of 600 or 700 quid for a set of tyres, like I discussed earlier, for some of the top nationals. But yeah, I think we can't, as long as you've got someone to race with, it's always going to be fun.
Yeah. And is there a kind of thing you need to kind of look out for if you buy a cart or if you're arriving at a go-kart arrive and drive type race and you think there's an issue with your car, what are the kind of things to look out for so that you can sort it out quickly?
A lot of people, so I give a lot of driving tuition, a lot of karting tuition, and that varies from some people winning Club 100 to some people are brand new in it. So I do the whole scale of it. One of the first things to always test, depending on how diligent the places where you are, go down straight, take your hands off the wheel for a second. It'll either pull left, right, or carry on going straight. Obviously, you want to carry on going straight. I'm not lying about that. Just take wheels off, chill out for a little bit. It's just 4 seconds, see what it's doing. And then you don't want your car to be bogging out of corners. So when you come out of the corner, if you put your throttle down, it should be like a nice crisp noise to come out of the corner. You probably won't get that on most. Obviously, a lot of karting now is electric indoor for rental karting. And a lot of the Honda stuff being 4 strokes, they're all about bottom end, not top end. So you'd be looking at the other way for that.
All right. Yeah. So it should pull better at the top, or not be slow to pull right the way through.
Yeah. So 4 strokes all about bottom end, 2 strokes all about top end.
Yeah. I know it's interesting to know. Now, Kiwi has said he liked your quote there: brake ribs and then rib protection. He said that's him as well. Because poor old Kiwi had an issue with someone hit him on sim racing on GT7, and he broke his finger and his hand because it was that big a thump through his wheel and things, which was pretty dangerous. But thankfully he recovered. But it was a pretty major incident. And Umar has asked, do you really have to brake at the end of the straight on a go-kart? But I imagine, you could. Well, you tell us what is the key?
It depends what follows it, essentially. So Castelletto, Three Lakes, which is in East Italy, Southeast Italy, at the end of their main straight, there's like a 90-degree corner. When I was out there racing for the Worlds, you don't brake for that 90-degree corner. You choke the engine, and that will just slow you down enough to get around it. So there's a lot of a lot of people don't realise, like in high-level karting, how much we actually do as a driver. So obviously we've got computers on our dashboard. They're like, obviously your sim rig's got. We got computers on the go-kart one, and it tells us our water temperature, our engine temperature, our revs, our lap time, speed, GPS, splits up and down. So, for example, when I went and raced KGP one year at the Worlds, we had the low jet, a high jet, so I had to adjust the jets on as I come out the corner, as I go up the straight, and then adjust it again for the corner. Choke the engine at the end of the straight, and I'd also always have to keep an eye on the water temperature on the other side for the radiator to adjust the radiator blind, just so it stays cool enough, while still driving against 30 other best drivers in the world. So there's a lot going on which people don't realise. They think, oh yeah, I've done really well in rental karting.
Yeah.
Well, all that stuff I just spoke about is only half a tenth that all adds up to. But I once qualified 5th at a 10th and a half of pole, and I was 5th.
Yeah.
So all that little stuff does in proper karting does really add up.
That's incredible, because that's a lot of things to do. Are there buttons or levers, or is it quite difficult? Are these easy access things to get to, or are they?
So the carb jetting is literally, you got to have your arm behind you like this while driving. You got to feel down next to the carburetor, and then you got a high one and a low one. So you got 2 jets to touch. They're kind of like little bars to twist, and you're not talking like a full twist. It's, if you think of like a clock, so you've got 1 minute all the way around to 60 minutes. You'd be turning it like 5 minutes at a time, so minuscule little bits, and they make a massive amount of difference. The only thing which was easy was obviously the radiator blind and the gear stick.
Because there are, of course, some karts that have the gears. I've seen those ones before on videos, and they look terrifying, because it's kind of, because they're so powerful, isn't it? And then you've got to change gear. Is that something? Obviously, you don't have a clutch, so is it a matter of you can just hit the pedal, or the kind of push, pull the lever, and it will go up and go down?
So they do have a clutch, but they're like a motorbike. So you've got a clutch to pull away and a clutch to stop. The rest, apart from that, it's just like it's essentially a motorbike engine. So you got back towards you 5, and then away for you 1.
Right.
So it's essentially a motorbike engine, but they've got front brakes as well. There's a video on my channel of me driving one around Rye House, and it's like 95 miles an hour on a track which is not designed for that car. But they are stupid fast. They easily do over 100 miles an hour at proper tracks.
Yeah. That's incredible, because you're just so low to the track, isn't it? You're virtually on it, really, aren't you? You're just on the ground, and you're traveling at such a speed. But I do have to say, I watched one. I don't know if it was in America somewhere. They had quite a lot of big race circuits over there for the go-karts. I think they're just like street circuits that they end up driving around. And I mean, the speed that they go is incredible. They look like watching the Isle of Man type of TT type thing, but on a go-kart.
They used to do it around the harbour at Isle of Man.
Right. Yeah.
Supercars used to do around the harbour section of Isle of Man TT.
Yeah. What would you say has been the most kind of dangerous kind of go-karting you've ever done, or kind of go-kart centre? What's been like maybe the worst experience you've ever had if you've gone visiting and you see a go-kart centre and you think, right, I've got to have a go? What's been the worst?
The worst? I don't know, because I've been doing it for so long, I'm very confident in myself, so I don't think I'm going to go there and this is going to be awful. I think for pure experience, and they're going to hate me saying it because I've worked with them on my YouTube channel before, and I'm hoping they don't stop working for it. But the team sport stuff is usually horrendous, purely because you're paid for the 15-minute sessions, and there's a chance 12 minutes, those 15 are red flag, where you've got complete new people who are crashing into a wall, don't know what they're doing. So you're paying for 3 minutes worth of go-karting, and that's generally, obviously, for people like myself who do it, it's not great. Obviously, other people who just want to go along and have fun, they enjoy stuff like that.
Although it's horrible having to wait, because then if the red flag's out, you can't go anywhere. You want to have a decent bit of running, isn't it? Otherwise, it's no fun. You can't complete a lap.
And obviously, being indoor as well, they don't have reverse or anything. Well, karts don't have reverse.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to get out your car in the indoor track, so you have to wait till a marshal come over and it just
Yeah.
it takes a
So,
long time.
so do you think that's a briefing issue then? Do you think they're not getting briefed
I think that,
properly?
no, I think that's people who just don't understand what's going on more
Yeah.
than anything. The drivers' briefings are always solid. It's down to the drivers ultimately. They can tell you whatever you want, but if you
Yeah.
don't have enough capability to turn the steering wheel, the
Yeah.
driver's briefing isn't going to help you on that.
Yeah. I suppose that's the thing is you are getting people who've never done anything like that before,
Yeah,
no driving experience before. So that's it. How do you turn? Yeah, they're used to maybe
yeah,
turning a.
exactly. I understand it. I understand that there's a lot of new people to it. I do get that whole concept, but come from someone who's done a lot of racing, it's very frustrating for myself.
Yeah.
So I took my son to team sport last weekend for the first. He's never done an indoor electric before. We got quite lucky with our sessions, but occasionally we'd have a red flag and he'd be like, "Why have we stopped?"
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
had to explain it to him because obviously where he races properly, he would just jump out his go-kart, drag it back on track, and go again.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
obviously you can't there because of different insurances and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's quite a thing, isn't it? That I've watched a video recently of a chap who races in different formula, and he went to Bali in Indonesia because he'd heard it was the most dangerous racing circuit for go-karts, where
Yeah,
people like quite often get injuries and different things. And sure enough, it was kind of next to a swamp. And he says if you go off there, it won't be so much an injury from the go-kart; it might be a snake bite or something else that might get you when you're kind of climbing back onto the track.
yeah,
But it did look quite dangerous because there was a few kind of jumps or kind of bits where
yeah,
it goes up and down, and you think, oh god, I don't know if you want that in a go kart. Maybe you want to try and be as smooth as you can, not really having difference in elevation, unless it's, I suppose, well designed and can be done. But have you ever been abroad at go kart circuits and thought, goodness me, that's a wee bit dodgy?
There was a time when on a family holiday, right when I first started, we went to Mallorca. Mallorca? I think it's Mallorca. And they had an outdoor track. They just let you drive around in shorts and t-shirt. And I'm thinking,
Oh
it's a
yeah,
bit
of course,
sketchy.
yeah, yeah,
On holiday, they're not going to make you wear a proper race suit. So it's shorts and t-shirt. And you're like, oh, not the greatest of ideas.
yeah, yeah. So what kind of equipment? I mean, in terms of if you're buying a proper kind of race suit and gloves and boots and all that kind of thing, what kind of money does that cost if you want to get something that's decent?
So in karting, your race gear is not fireproof. It has to be
Yeah,
abrasive. So it's like a motorbike race suit.
yeah,
It's not leathers, but it's got to be abrasive because you're more likely to slide than you are to roll. Okay.
right.
Um, so essentially, I've got a few bits around here actually from my sim racing stuff. Um, so I use a pair of old Adidas race boots.
Oh yeah, yeah,
These have been retired for my karting because
yeah,
there's a hole in it, as you can see. So they're now my sim boots. These are 150 odd quid.
yeah.
I got sponsored to wear gloves. I've got a crash helmet up here from when I used to one of the ones which I rolled in.
Oh wow.
Um, so that's probably the best part of it. Like with the paint job, £600 crash helmet, another £600 paint job.
Oof.
It's probably only the best part of £1,200, but I did roll in it, and I'm
Yeah,
no more stupid than I used to be. So it did its job. But essentially, you don't need to spend that much. You
yeah,
can do it a hell of a lot cheaper. So you can buy race boots aren't homologated. So as
yeah.
long as they cover your ankles, you can wear whatever you want. You can even wear a pair of high tops if you want, as long as
All
it
right.
covers your ankle.
Yeah,
Same as
yeah,
gloves. They're not homologated, then you just need to cover your wrist.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Race suit, obviously you need to buy a race suit. I'm an advocate, but I like to suggest to people to buy second hand because some people outgrow stuff so often. Why
yeah,
go buy a £400-500 race suit when someone's just outgrown one? You can get it for 70 quid.
yeah, yeah,
And then crash helmets, they have to meet a certain safety limit to race proper karting. Rental
yeah,
karting, you can just use anything. Proper
yeah,
karting, you need to reach a certain safety. And if you're under 16, you have to wear something called a CMR crash helmet. So it weighs under a kilo. So obviously
right.
there's not as much weight on a
Yeah,
child's neck.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but you could probably just go and buy all that. you could get all the race gear to go race equipment, like safety equipment wise, second hand. I would say you'd probably be looking about £200 for race gear, and I never ever recommend a second hand crash helmet. Always
No.
buy a new crash helmet.
Yeah.
And you can get a Zamp, which are cheap for about 200 quid, or you can go up
Yeah.
to Arrow Steelos, £800-900.
Yeah. I got a very basic crash helmet years ago, back in the mid-90s. I think it was actually from the Knockhill racing shop, and it was £50, and I've
Yeah.
still got it. I've still got it here. But I thought I'd quite like to get for the channel. I'd quite like to get a design on it
Yeah.
to do, because that would be quite nice to get it livened up. But obviously that was installation from 30 years ago, and costing there, I imagine it's £200 is actually not too bad for a decent kind of crash helmet. Now it's good to know that. Now, as Umar has said, is oversteer a big problem in go-karting?
Oversteer is not so much of a problem in go-karting as understeer. Understeer is way more of an issue because obviously the way you naturally are in the go-kart is you're sat so far back, all the weight is at the back. So you really struggle with front end. There's no weight over front end. So you'll tend to find a lot in karting that you'll turn and you'll just carry on going straight until it eventually grips. So where setup comes into it, you do get oversteer, and it's mainly exit oversteer. So power on oversteer. But the bigger, you're more fighting understeer than oversteer in karting. Obviously, unless it's raining, then it's all oversteer.
Yeah. So what's the thing? Because it's quite likely that my event will be wet on Saturday, being at Knockhill in Fife. You're gonna have four seasons in a day up there. But what is the skills you need if it's wet and you're doing a kind of arrive and drive kind of go-kart session? What would be the tips for that?
Stay off the rubber. 100% stay off the rubber.
Off the rubber, or as in the bits, or the
grip.
marble. Yeah.
No, go on the marbles. The marbles are where the grip are in the wet.
All right. Okay.
The marbles are grip in the wet. So you know your racing line.
Yeah.
Water sits on top of that, and it turns it into like a greasy, oily film, and you'll just go off. So avoid the racing line. So go around the outside on the marbles. Don't go on any paint. So stay away from all the white lines. And if you're, I don't know how tall you are.
5'8". 5'8". That's my.
Try and sit higher in your seat. Center of gravity really helps in the wet. You want to be higher so you can move your body weight around. Whereas in the dry, you want to be lower so your body weight doesn't move.
All right.
So stay off the rubber, stay off the paint, and be tall. Be taller.
That's very good. I do sometimes get the back protection in, because sometimes if it's a very kind of hard seat, then of course I've got a bolt halfway down the seat as well, which normally goes into your back. So I try and get a kind of back thing to kind of help me with that.
Try and find one with the bottom so it lifts you up a bit.
All right, yeah. I'll try and they normally do have extra kind of padding and stuff, so I'll see if I can maybe get some of that, because no doubt it can be and probably will be wet. It's forecast for rain this weekend, so we'll see how that all goes. But with all the skills that you've acquired in go-karting, would you ever like to do racing in cars? If you had the chance to do some a race day, would you do it?
I would definitely do it. I've done lots of car tests, but I haven't raced any cars. A lot of the time, I do wish I did. It's just a lot of money and time.
Yeah.
But I have driven some fast race cars as a test day and stuff like that, but I've never actually physically done a car race.
Yeah. What kind of cars have you driven? What's been the
Radical SR1, Radical SR3, Ginetta G5, G50. Ginetta G55, which is their old G3.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
a Ginetta road car one. I can't remember what it was called. I can't remember what it was called. It's like a Ginetta road car anyway.
Yeah.
And a couple of single seaters.
Ah, very good, very good.
So I've driven some stuff. I just never had the funding to race it.
Yeah. I know that Umar had said, I'd asked a question earlier, that is it possible to be a paid professional in go-karting?
It is, but you have to live in Europe. you have to at least spend 2 or 3 million before you get the opportunity to be paid professional.
Yeah.
I'm probably as close as you can. There's a few of us, a couple of hundred, are really close to being paid professionals, but
Yeah.
it's more semi-professional. It's like our weekend jobs.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's enough events that we could probably survive a year on
Yeah.
it, but you will be pushing. But to be a proper, fully factory paid professional karter, you need to have the results to back it up. And
Yeah.
to race in Europe's easy £250,000 to £500,000 a year.
Yeah.
So they need the results in doing that. And you're never going to get that on your first season. So
Yeah.
you're going to be 2 or 3 seasons into it. That's like over £1 million you're spending just to become a professional go-karter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a lot like the RC hobbies. There's professionals in it, but you don't get all your money from one brand. It'll be like your tire sponsor, your engine. There'll be lots of separate ones put into one, if
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I know that Umar is desperate to become a GT3 race driver, but he says unfortunately he's broke, but he is still young, so I'm sure he'll make his way as we all go. I think what's the lovely thing about sim racing and our kind of communities here is that sim racing has encouraged people to be able to get into motorsport who maybe wouldn't have always seen that sport as something for them. Do you
Yeah,
think that? Do you agree with that? That sim racing is a good entry point for motorsport and even karting as well?
100%. I think it's a really, really good entry point. And I'm not about like just all the high tech sim racing, like the high end, like the iRacing, the ACC, even the sim racing like Gran Turismo and stuff. It's good enough to get people interested to think,
Yeah,
oh, I quite like this. This is
yeah,
quite fun to do. And then they think, oh, well, what about if I now try and get myself a wheel instead of doing it on the joysticks?
yeah,
Oh, then they're all saying, like, oh, I quite like this. What's the next step from that? Then you can go to stuff like iRacing and the higher end sim
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll go into real motorsport. And you can
yeah,
go from there. And we do see a lot of people transferring over from sim to karting. The only downside is they'll be on the sim and be winning. They'll be all the way
yeah,
up here. And then they'll jump into real karts and they'll be like off screen, like down here where you can't even see me. And they
yeah,
get really shocked by how not bad, but I'll go with bad. How bad they are compared to people who've done karting since they were 5, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah, because
Seat
they're going
time,
to be hugely competitive, aren't they? That's the thing, and they've got so much skill and experience. They're going to wipe the floor with
yeah,
anyone who's a kind of beginner. That
yes.
So who would in learning go karting and race and kind of your technique for racing? Did you have any kind of idols or any kind of drivers that you looked up to kind of learn from?
I mean, like I said at the start, I never came from a motorsport background. I'm the first in my family who ever did
Yeah,
any motorsport. So I never
yeah,
grew up watching motorsport or anything like that. I grew up
mm,
playing football. So I
yeah,
didn't have any of these idols for motorsport at all. My
yeah,
idols were all football stuff, nothing to do with motorsport. So a lot of I can appreciate good drivers and stuff like
yeah,
that, but they were never so much as an idol because I didn't start till I was 16 in motorsport. So I never grew up as an 8 year
yeah,
old
with
thinking, yeah, I want to be as good as, I don't know, said Vettel or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
It never happened purely because I started so late into it.
yeah. Oh, it's fantastic because there's obviously so much learning, and you've kind of learned it on the job as you went into it, and then found a sport at the age of 16 that you're very good at, and been able to develop and make a career from as well. And now it's a kind of a real specialist a specialist career for you, which is fantastic. And how do
Yeah.
you find when you teach, because you do a lot of go-kart professional tuition? What are the kind of things? What is the first kind of thing that you help someone to achieve when they do go-kart tuition?
Breaking point is what you can speak to. So currently this season, I've got 3 drivers I teach. I've got Sky, who's very, very new to karting. She's very super new, bottom finals, but she's getting better. I've
Yeah,
got someone called Thomas, who is just scraping into the A finals now. So he's
yeah,
just getting to the fast boys. And I've got
yeah,
Adam Napa, who runs with the fast boys. All 3 are completely different speeds. But the first thing, every time I go to a new track with them, I always say to is braking. They need to get their braking straight. It's the most important thing in karting
yeah,
is get your
yeah,
braking done. nice and early, so you can get on the power earlier and get through the corners. That's my key thing. Is the first thing I push for, and then from that, obviously, I can watch. Like, okay, so you're turning too early here, which compromises your exit, or you're turning too late, which means you can't get on the throttle too early because you're putting so much lock on. And I
Yeah.
can go from there, and we can work together. Some people react differently to it. So I used to have a guy a couple of years ago who liked me to give aggressive feedback. So I wasn't polite. I'd
Yeah.
be he kind of responded more to me saying, no, that was, and using some swear words at him. Instead of saying, no, that was all right, you didn't do too bad. He responded better to that was type of thing, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Just learn. And a lot of these people, they're nice people. All
Yeah.
three of the people I'm teaching this year, they're nice people. I get on with them, and they're very eager to learn. But I always go back to the same thing. Breaking points are the most important thing in karting.
Yeah. So here's a quick question for you. And at Knockhill, at the end of the kind of the first kind of the back straight, there's about 3 turns. So you've got like 3 hairpins. Kind of
Yeah,
got a right hairpin and a left hairpin, and then a right hairpin that goes back onto the next straight. What
yeah.
would be a good way of dealing with that? Because it's certainly downhill as well as you come off the straight.
So the out of the third hairpin, that's straight. Is it a long straight or a short straight?
It's fairly long, to be fair. It's a good bit. It's
Okay,
a
so then the
majority of the
most
circuit.
important corner would be hairpin free for you.
Yeah.
Okay, because you want to be able to carry the speed onto the back straight.
Yeah.
So you sacrifice corner 1 for a
Yeah.
good entry into corner 2, and then you really want to concentrate on the exit corner 2 to give you a nice entry onto corner 3, because then
Yeah.
obviously you're going to be on wide open throttle for a long amount of time. And you'll gain
Yeah.
more time up that straight than you'll lose by compromising a little bit on entry. So essentially, first corner, throw it away, get around it.
Yeah.
Second corner, you want to set up for the third corner, and then the third corner is a really important one out of the 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I will certainly be doing my best to try and get that sorted out, so I can set a good time. My mate has warned me that because I'm the one who likes motorsport out of all of them, he says that he'll be watching me. So I've got to try
That,
and make sure I can. If I don't win there, I'm in big trouble. You know.
that, that's the downside. I have it when I go indoor karting with my friends. Like, if I win, they expect me to win. I don't get any praise for it. Whereas if I lose, I never hear the last of it. So it's lose.
Oh, that's fantastic. So just before we bring our show to a close, it's been amazing. You've been done nearly an hour with us already, which we very much appreciate. What would be your top tips, just in closing, for our viewers here, for if go-karting was a thing that they wanted to get into, what would be their first steps that they should do?
Definitely find out what your local club is and go along to it. Because there's no point getting a road tax if the club only races X30. So definitely go to your local club, find out where it is, speak to people. People, believe it or not, at club meetings are some of the most approachable people you can find. They
Yeah.
will help you out. Don't be too nervous about it.
Yeah.
So then jump into whatever the sort of class is there. Make sure it's supported. So obviously, being new, you're going to the likely crash. So you
Yeah.
need to spare. So make sure that chassis is supported there.
Yeah.
Have fun, because you're never, if you're miserable and hating every second of it, you're never going to get faster. You're only going to get faster if you're having fun.
Yeah.
And make friends. It's a sociable sport. 99.9% of the people karting are never going to make any money out of it. So
Yeah.
what's the point of not having fun if you're spending loads of money?
Exactly. Oh, that's fantastic. So, what are the big events for you in the near future, perhaps that we can support, or how people can follow you in?
I'm most likely doing the British 24-hour, which is up at Teesside.
All right,
in
not
the
too far away. Yeah.
My boys racing this weekend down south, which is nice. I've got all around the rest of the country with Club 100. But realistically, I'm getting too old. I'm in the age bracket where I've got to race against people who are 15.
Yeah.
So my fitness just doesn't keep up with them. So the endurance stuff is nice. It's all good. But yeah, if people want to support me any way they can do, I'm not looking for money, just emotional, not even emotional support. Like
Come and say
just
hello.
yeah, stuff like that. Whatever that's classed as that, I always
Yeah.
appreciate, and I talk to most people.
Yeah. Well, what if you're coming up to Seaside? I'm just trying to think if I'll be there in a couple of weeks' time. Is it the weekend? Is it that will be? I'm just trying to think what date that is.
Not this weekend, not next weekend, but the weekend after.
I
So what's
won't
that?
be.
The 13th? No, not 13th.
Oh,
No,
it'll be the
16th.
15th. Yeah, 16th. Yeah, I'm unfortunately I'm on the opposite side of the country for a few days.
We'll
And
be
that point,
we'll
yeah,
be
we'll be
crossing.
passing. I'll give you a shout on the motorway. But no, it'd be fantastic. The next time you're coming up this way, it would be great to meet up and see how you race and to meet you in person. And I will say to everyone watching as well, you are a co-host on Kira's channel when you do your questions and answers series, which are fantastic. Really, really good live shows. They go well into the night with people asking lots of great questions. So Wolemid is a fantastic guy to be able to ask all your kind of a lot of sim related and racing and go-karting related questions, which is fantastic. And we've got your channel link in the subscription, so please go and subscribe to Wolemid's channel. There's some fascinating stories of motorsport and go-karting, and you can definitely learn a huge amount about motorsport. But I know it's been fascinating to have you on the show tonight, Wolemid. It's been really, really good. Thank you so much for coming online and for doing the interview. I don't know if you've got any words in case some of your community might be watching. Would you like to say anything to them?
First of all, thank you for having me on the show, Hugh. It's been much appreciated. John Fairgrieve was the best mechanic I ever had, and I know they appreciate me saying that. And yeah, just have fun racing. I mean, life's too short just to be stressed about everything.
Exactly. Fantastic. Stay on the line as we end the show. Please, that would be super. But to everyone who's been watching and listening on the podcast, you've been watching the Hugh Hatrick show with our very special guest. It is Wolemid, the go-karting expert, and he's here now on the show. But thank you very much for coming on, Wolemid. We'll see you again very soon. Thanks to everyone watching, and remember our motto. It is, of course, drive fast, don't crash. We'll see you very soon. Bye just now.